Good afternoon, I'm Sean Yao, and this is One News Now. Let's check in on the weather. Tropical Depression Chedeng has slightly intensified as it meanders over the sea east of eastern Visayas. As of 5 p.m., the weather disturbance was spotted some 1,150 kilometers east of southeastern Luzon. It is packing wind speeds of up to 70 kilometers per hour. Chedeng is still not expected to close in on the Philippine landmass anytime soon. Nevertheless, Pag-asa's forecast shows that the tropical depression will intensify in the next 4 days. This could also be upgraded to tropical storm category in the next 12 hours. The State Weather Bureau says that Chedeng is unlikely to directly bring heavy rainfall over any portion of the country in the next 3 to 5 days. However, it may enhance the southwest monsoon or habagat. With these rains come the floods. And this is why the MMDA is intensifying its cleanup drive around Metro Manila, starting with clogged waterways. Mon Gualvez with the story.
Paano pa dadalo yung tubig kung barado ng ganyan? Tingnan mo, kapal.
Thick, sticky mire. This is literally the dirty truth from the canals of Barangay Bangkal, Makati. Personnel of the Metro Manila Development Authority had to use a shovel to take out garbage from drainage systems. In the trash, oil that has solidified, a major cause of flooding in the area.
Nakailang sako na po kayo?
Sa ano pa, sa ilalim. May laman pa eh. May laman pa lang sa ilalim.
The cleanup drive is part of the Bayanihan sa Barangay program, spearheaded by the MMDA. Aside from estero cleanup, trees that block roadsides are trimmed and pedestrian crossings are repainted. They have also conducted misting against dengue, which is common during the rainy season.
Ang basura at ang paglilinis ng kapaligiran ay hindi lamang responsibilidad ng gobyerno at hindi dapat iatang sa balikat ng gobyerno, kundi kailangan po namin ang tulong ng mamamayan.
The agency still thinks trash is the main cause of flooding in most parts of Metro Manila. Priorities for the cleanup drive are the cities of Pasay, Makati and Manila, since these are the areas closest to the Manila Bay. MMD admits though that they can only do so much, clearing waterways to the pumping station.
Meron lamang tayong 2 teams na gumagawa niyan na kumpleto sa gamit para mas mabilis dahil hindi talaga kaya ng mano-mano.
Microplastics also pose a challenge. The Laguna Lake Development Authority has earlier confirmed via study that Laguna de Bay is already polluted with these tiny plastic particles.
Wala pa pong teknolohiya ang MMDA para po dito sa mga microplastics. Iyon na din po yung sinasabi natin na huwag magtapon ng basura sa mga daluyan ng tubig. Na kalimitan po ay nakakain din ng mga isda na eventually nakakain natin mga tao na in the long term ay masama po sa kalusugan ng tao.
To encourage more residents to clean up, another solution brought up by the MMDA is trash in exchange of grocery items. Participating residents will be given booklets where they will list recyclable materials they've saved up. Each kilo is equivalent to a point, and each grocery item also equates to a certain number of points.
Halimbawa po kung ang kilo ng papel ay piso, equivalent to 1 points po yun. Pero ang ginagawa po natin para po mas maraming makuha at maklaim na groceries ang ating mga participants, dinadagdagan po natin ng plus 20% yung puntos na naipon po nila.
Some residents took this opportunity to trade the cans and plastic bottles they collect.
Malaking bagay po kasi una-una mahal po akong bilihin. Wala pa akong pambili, wala akong trabaho.
The program is now being implemented in 42 barangays, which will also be rolled out in all cities in Metro Manila. For News 5, Mon Gualvez, we are One News.
In other news, Vice President Sara Duterte expressed her love and gratitude to President Marcos but refused to mention his middle name. In a speech before the OVP's Thanksgiving event, Duterte praised Marcos Jr. but chose to omit referring to him by his full name. Marcos's middle name is Romualdez.
I would like to acknowledge the all-out support of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to the office of the Vice President. Hindi ko nabanggitin ang middle initial niya. No, alam mo, Apo, alam mo yan na mahal kita.
The Vice President's remarks is on the back of reports that she has a rift with House Speaker Martin Romualdez. Recall that Duterte recently resigned from Lakas CMD, saying that her stay in office cannot be affected by political toxicity and power play. Before the VP's resignation, her ally, Pampanga Representative Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, was demoted to Deputy Speaker amid talks of a power struggle at the House of Representatives. We're pausing for a short break. One News Now will be back with more stories after that. Stay with us. You're still with us here on One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. One expert is noting the unclear guidelines on how the Maharlika Investment Fund will be used. In an interview with the Chiefs, international investment banker Stephen Kuunying said that he is expecting these guidelines to come from fund managers, which are yet to be chosen. Kuunying added that, for now, the fund remains at the disposal of whomever will handle the investment.
The whole problem is we have a big policy, which is this. We don't have clear guidelines. And in fairness, the guidelines will not come from the law.
Yes.
The guidelines will come from the management and the board. For example, the board can just say, we're just going to put it in short-term money market instruments until we find the investments. Well, what if they start buying stocks anywhere? And what if the stocks go down? Then what happens? Basically, they're saying, with the 75 billion we're giving you, bahala ka.
Moving on to traffic officials saying that there will be additional jeepney routes when the PNR Calamba to Alabang route temporarily closes down next month. Gerard De La Peña with the details.
The Philippine National Railway's Calamba to Alabang route will have to be temporarily halted in a month. That's because starting July 2, the Transportation Department will begin constructing the North-South Commuter Railway. This will connect Calamba in Laguna to Clark in Pampanga. The DOTR promises the project to have stations with modern designs, as well as Japanese-made trains that are faster than usual. This temporary closure of the Calamba-Alabang route will affect about 500 passengers daily. The DOTR said it would be better to suspend the train line's operations altogether, since it would be costlier for the government and unsafe for commuters if they do otherwise.
Usually, 2 years ang kakailanganin mo para sa right-of-way at 3 years ang kakailanganin mo para sa construction, civil works. Bakit 2 years? Sapagkat hindi ka lang nagre-relocate ng ISF, nagre-relocate ka rin ng utilities. Meralco, phone companies, Maynila.
The 147-kilometer elevated railway will pass through Calamba, Metro Manila and Bulacan before it reaches Pampanga. The expected construction cost is a whopping 837 billion pesos. The project's funding will be taken from the government's national budget as well as loans from the Asian Development Bank and the Japan International Cooperation Agency or JICA. The DOTR has already asked the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB to add jeepney routes, which will bring passengers from Laguna to bus terminals. However, the daily commute will be more expensive for these affected passengers. A one-way fare from Calamba to Alabang via PNR only costs 30 pesos. But with this temporary closure, the fare for the same route via buses will be more than double at 70 pesos.
Kung ganun po mangyayari, kung mapapaganda naman po ang sitwasyon po ng PNR, wala tayo po magagawa. Tatanggapin po namin sa akin lang po, tatanggapin ko po. Nakakatipid po ako ng isang 100 piso po kada araw-araw.
Papapasok ako sa trabaho, magta-tricycle ako hanggang terminal ng bus, or pambas hanggang Alabang lang naman yun. Pag kasi probinsya hanggang Alabang lang. Tapos sasakay ka naman ng pwedeng jeep or bus ulay na pabikutan.
Aside from commuters, around 2,000 families living close to the rails will also be affected by this project.
Ang hirap dito talaga pag kung ipinaalis na wala naman kaming kasiguraduhan na saan makapunta yung mga tao.
No choice naman kami sir kasi kung project po talaga ng gobyerno wala po tayong magagawa. Ang sa amin lang po, ilagay lang po sa ayos, saka po yung sa tamang ipaglalagay yung mga tao kasi napakahirap po talaga ng maglipat.
Aside from Calamba to Alabang, the Alabang to Tuban route will also be closed starting October this year, also for the project. The North-South Commuter Railway is expected to be partially operational by 2027. For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, we are One News.
Let's now take a quick look at the day's other top stories. The new Defense and Health Secretaries have taken their oaths before President Bongbong Marcos. The appointments of DND Secretary Gibo Teodoro and DOH Secretary Ted Herbosa were announced last night. Teodoro had served as Defense Secretary under Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, while Herbosa recently served as advisor to the COVID-19 task force. The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or CAAP, has declared Mounts Mayon, Taal, and Canlaon as no-fly zones. This is due to increased activities in these volcanoes over the past few weeks. PHIVOLCS has raised Alert Level 2 over Mayon, while Taal and Canlaon are under Alert Level 1. And inflation cooled down further to 6.1% in May, the slowest since July of last year. This figure is also lower than the 6.8% clocked 2 months ago. The Philippine Statistics Authority attributes the lower inflation to the slower movement of prices of food and transportation. And here's the latest in tech. Apple has unveiled some of its latest products at the annual Worldwide Developers Conference. The highlight? The long-awaited mixed reality headset. Apple's new Vision Pro AR/VR headset is described as the company's most significant hardware innovation in years. The headset is up for sale early next year for a whopping $3,499, more than twice the cost of the most expensive iPhone 14 Pro. In our currency, that is worth nearly 200,000 pesos. Apple also unveiled a bigger version of the MacBook Air during the event. It has a 15.3-inch screen, which is a takeoff from the 13-inch display on most MacBook Air models since the product debuted in 2008. This new model will be available in some Apple Store locations by next week and will cost around $1,299 or more than 70,000 pesos. Apple likewise has upgrades to iOS 17. It comes with new communication features, new experiences, intelligent input and sharing enhancements. One of its most significant features are updates to the phone app. One News Now will be back with the latest stories at 6:30 p.m. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.